elevators came on, regardless
all
of
day
how
long,
you
anytime.
felt.
Every day.
That's what I'm saying.
That's the difference.
God is with you. You destined for greatness.
What up, everybody? This is Sivion, Deep Space 5, Elect Recordings. You're in the mix with Trackstarz Radio. Peace.
Yeah, back in the field with the Trackstarz, Ryan Righteous, Shantana, DJ Jeremiah. What's good?
All right, this episode is sponsored by the music submissions, video submissions, and beat submissions for Trackstarz. Make sure you go to www.trackstarz.com for all things Trackstarz.
All right, speaking of that, we are building a new website called leaks.trackstarz.com, which is our own personal little SoundCloud since we had a little beef with them. But it's growing. It's growing really well, man, and it gives us a lot more control over what happens with those songs. We could get it to DJs. We could get it to people a lot easier that way. So send in your music. All right, so we have a album review. You can get your album reviewed by the Trackstarz if you send your music to our music submissions form, and you want to, this is a sponsored segment, so you want to get your album reviewed. You send it in, we'll listen to it, give you an honest review. We're not going to butter it up for you just because you pay for it. This is honest. This is real
hype
feedback.
men here, people.
This is real feedback. So if you want real feedback for your album, get the album review, and it'll be a good way to build some awareness around your album or your song. But we're this is how we help each other. When Rick Sincere was working on his album, we have real conversations like, yo, I don't know about this. I don't know about that. You should probably fix this. You should probably fix that. When we were on Destinations and somebody had a new spoken word piece to do, be like, yo, you got to rewrite that part. That don't make no sense. You know what I mean? So that's how we got better. So that's what we're doing for you guys. All right, let's do it.
All right, we have an artist named Julius. I hope I'm spelling his name right. Julius. Child of God is the name of the album. I believe it came out in March recently. So we're going to do a little mini mix of that bad boy and then come back and talk about it. Here we go.
What has God done for me? They just want to hear one for the money. They don't really know the places I done been, the things that I done saw, the dirt that I done been. How far coming and what has God done for me? They just want to hear one for the money. Wonder why ain't never been kind to those like me. And I pretend I'm fine every time, even though I know I need peace inside my soul. Dear Lord, I can't make it on my own. Make it on my own. I know I ain't the type of son you should be proud of. Down on my luck, so many times I didn't praying and watching the sun. He stay in the streets, they changing him up. Running and ripping like something to prove. She working to save up the money to move. Been in the ghetto since daddy was taken upstate to a prison where the doors located. Charged with a crime he would never come home for. Now bad wanna be a drug lord. So every night she been in the word reading. Worry, stress, crime, soul. And you wondering should I go? Cause you heard that. Remember backslide sneaking off, looking for weed, rolling blunts in the Thonia Park, blowing some trees. Yes, indeed, I'm much tripping, letting the devil use me, acting like a star when I wasn't. This ain't the movies, homie, this ain't the games. Working for him, sitting there like war me. Wish he close his Bible, scratching, wonder how he know me. I'm just little old me. I've been in the cold streets, wanna be sick like how you was talking. Can you show me? His word just done got so deep. I'm caught in the aim. It's like a 9mm gun going by. The truth I was made on, encouraged by one time. Knew it was God talking through David in my flawed mind. Even though he was buying me chains, so I had some. The kingdom rejoiced, cause they had to tell the Father and when he just got sick. Hello world, this was for those sitting at the crossroads, looking both ways.
All right.
I know.
So what y'all think?
Jeremiah?
What was the name of that last song?
I can't remember. I was just doing a mix with it. But he had, I can't remember the name of that song, but he had some good stuff, man. I would say overall, I was impressed with the album. I would say it did remind me of gospel rap, kind of what we talked about. It was like,
oh yeah,
he had that feel to it. I said, I also felt like he told stories very well, like, and he was a good rapper.
Do you have the track list? Do you have any names of songs?
Yeah,
I have it.
Yeah.
I want Jeremiah to say it because I want to see some of the ones he may have played.
Okay. All right, wait, hold on a second. Y'all go ahead. Let me pull it up.
So what'd you think, Ryan?
Yeah, I enjoyed the album, man. Honestly, it reminded me of like early 2000s music, which is something I was a real big fan of. He reminded me of Jody Breeze from Bad Boy South back in the day. I used to like Jody Breeze.
Okay.
He had. I say he reminded me of Tip a little bit, like a little bit of T.I.
I got a little bit of that too.
Yeah.
I got a little bit of that too.
Yeah.
So his voice was definitely, and this is what I love. Y'all know me. I love when your voice is an instrument to the track. His voice was an instrument to the track. I enjoyed the songs where you could tell that he had mixed it a little higher, so you could hear the vocals over the beat. I really enjoyed that because I hate having to turn up music when I'm on one level just to hear what you said. So that part was really good for me. I enjoyed the southern feel, of course. I mean, anytime I feel like something southern made, I'm just gonna enjoy it that much more. So yeah, it was a good project to me. I like the authenticism of his journey, like what he said. What?
No, you made up a word.
Yeah, I like the authenticism of his journey, like the fact that he talked about being in the church pew, listening to what the pastor was saying, it being directly on point about where he was in his life and what he had gone through. That was really good to me. I just like the whole story of what he was saying. It was good. I mean, the tracks flowed. Everything was just on point to me. It was good.
All right, so here are some of the track list. His track list goes: Crooked Waves was number 1. Inside My Eyes was number 2. Back in One Piece was number 3. Number 4 was Knock Knock. Number 5 was Bang. Number 6 was Russian Roulette. Track 7 was Call on Jesus. Track 8 was One for the Money, which I like that record really good. Track 9 was Story of Love. Number 10 was Broken Home. Number 11 was No Color. Number 12 was Change. Number 13 was Child of God, and number 14 was Miracles.
Okay.
So
on first listen, Sam, what did you feel from that?
I felt like he was telling a story, which I love.
Yeah.
Vocal delivery was strong. He had a good flow. My only thing, I feel like the vocals, like I get what you're saying, Ryan.
Yeah.
Like I want to be able to hear what the person's saying.
Yeah.
I feel like the vocals might have been a little too much. I feel like he could have mixed it just a little lower with the vocals.
Mm-hmm.
But otherwise, it sounded good.
Yeah.
It sounded real good.
I think another thing too, just for some advice, I don't know if he does his own production or not. Like you said, it sounded 2000ish. Some tracks did sound a little dated. Some tracks I do like one of my suggested tracks, because I know back in the day we used to say what we would suggest should be singles and stuff. I don't know if we want to wait for that, but one of the records he had, One for the Money. I like that record. They sounded good. Back in One Piece sounded good. Like I would put those out immediately. He also had some other songs I liked, but some songs on here did sound dated. That's my only thing. Was it took me back to like what Ryan just said, the 2000s, Boys in the Hood.
I think if the album is already out, then you got to suggest maybe a video that he should go with, because he's probably already released them as singles.
No, but I mean, like even with certain albums, you can release an album and then I'm sending this to radio. I'm gonna push this single for the album. You know?
Yeah.
So
yeah, I like the Knock Knock joint.
Yeah, that was tough.
Dope.
That was tough.
Okay, so this is what I think. This album was very well done. It was very well done. I would like to know, and this is maybe something, Jason, if you're listening, that we need to add to these album reviews, is who is your target market?
Yeah.
Because if your target market is people who like 90s, 2000, West Coast-ish, Southernish hip hop, it hit that 100%.
Amen.
The only thing is that if you want it,
Amen.
if you listen to music still, it's not going to sound like what's on the radio today.
Yeah.
Not all of it. Now, the first two songs were very Tupac, you know, old big boyish, you know, like that old Southern, old West
I got
Coast
Scarface.
feel.
That's how I felt.
The vocal inflection was very Tupac on the first two. So, and it's fine. Now, here's the deal for my people, and I know there's a lot of other people listening very closely because they also like the older sound. You could do an old sound if you want, but you have to modernize it in some sort of way. What I was thinking about when I was listening to it is, there's people who are capitalizing off of old sounds, like Bruno Mars, right? Bruno Mars is bringing back 90s R&B, right?
New Jack Swing. Yeah.
Exactly. But he is modernizing it a bit with the arrangements, the instrument choices. It sounds like 90s, but it sounds updated. Yeah. If you're going to do it, you have to try to figure out a way to update it in some sort of way. Yeah. So, some people who are succeeding at having an older sound is like someone like Big Crit. Big Crit sounds a little like 90s Outkast, right? But the production has been updated as if this was what Outkast would sound like if they came out with an album today. Yeah. You see what I'm saying? Yes, so that's the only thing I would suggest is there were some beats that sounded more modern than others. Yeah. Okay. The first one that sounded modern to me was number 3. The what'd you say it was? Back in One Piece or something like that. Yeah. Back in One Piece. That was the first one that sounded like more modern. Yeah. Right. It had a more up to date beat, and his voice responded to the modern sound of it. Yeah. Even he sounded more modern because the beat sounded more modern. Yeah. So I did appreciate that, and there were a lot more throughout the album that sounded more up to date than others. Yeah. I would suggest if you're trying to succeed today, right? Because if you put this album out Ryan's day, you're killing it.
Today is my day.
Right. So, but just think about the target market you're trying to hit. If you're appealing to 90s, 2000, you're appealing to a thin slice of people. It's not oldie station people, because oldie station people don't want new old music. They want the music they listened to when they were a kid. So that eliminates them. You're looking for a thin market that wants older sounding music that still looks for it. Yeah. That also don't mind having it be Christian. Yeah. Very thin slice, right?
So are we saying, like, okay, using Big Crit as an example. So what about his fan base? Would his fan base love this?
They would listen to it. Yeah. They would listen to it. Yeah. But like I said, Big Crit's music, a lot of it, if you listen to the last one, it's updated. Yeah. He does sound a lot like Andre on it sometimes, but it's updated beats. Yeah. That's the difference. Yeah. The beats have to be updated. And
or even like a Saha, because they
Saha's a little old school.
Yeah, they on tour together. But all I have to say is that, like, how do we do this? Because I feel this for, like, even like what you're saying. There's a lot of people who they want to be successful in CHH, and I'm not even talking about like just financial success. I'm talking about like putting out a quality project that people would be like, yo, that dude is good. And even though it still sounds like an old school, it got like that, the production and stuff, or your flow may be old school, but the production is still like you trying to figure it out, or you may make it yourself. So what would we say to those people? That's,
again, there's a target market for everybody. That's why I said I don't know who his target is. This is not going to work for the people who like the song we just heard, Ty Brazzle. Yeah. They're not going to want this. Yeah. So if you're okay with that, then cool. But if you are trying to open your target up a little bit, you could do your style. There's people in the mainstream that are successful with the older style, but they have to update their production to match. Yeah. So that's the only thing I would suggest. I did like the Willy Wonka sample on the No Color. Did you hear that? The Pure Imagination sample. Yeah. That was, I like the flip the producer did on that. My favorite song on here was Change, number 12, Brina Marin. I don't know who that is, but that young lady needs to be on more of your stuff. Yeah. She killed that. Yeah. As far as a vocalist on a hook, that hook sounded good. It had a, again, my style is a little different than these guys. I like more moody stuff. That hook felt like haunting in a way, but it felt like something like what's her face? Oh girl that just got Grammy nominations. SZA. Yeah. It's not all the way SZA, but like more modern R&B-ish, she is, right? So that one to me was a home run. I would run with that one if I was you. But again, the upbeat ones, of course, always work. That'll appeal to somebody like Ryan. But for me, Change is the home run. That's the one I would actually take and go say, give this to radio. Depending on which radio, but I think that will work as a single floating around Christian hip hop stations. I think that one would go to me. So yeah, that's my advice is try to modernize it a bit, but for what it is, it's excellent. Yeah, it's excellent. It's not a bad project. It sounds really good. It flows really well. I could tell the story was very earnest. It was very sincere. I felt that the entire time, that it didn't feel whack that you were telling me this story of how, you know, your struggle as a Christian and you know how you grew up and those things. Every time you mentioned that, it felt real. It felt like this is going to help somebody. So, and I know I could tell from the very first track when he was talking that was his intention, and it came across. So that was very good.
And I think I would say also keep that in mind, because being in this industry, sometimes people lose that focus of, one, not why you're doing it, because I think everybody know we're doing this for God or want to represent him, but just remember, like, those stories that you're telling, even if it's for one person that changes their lives forever, this album could be that for them, you know what I mean?
It could. And that's why I say really pay attention to your target, not just your target as far as what kind of music they like, but target as far as age, target as far as are they a Christian or they're not. Yeah. This to me appeals, I would guess that this would appeal more to somebody who is a Christian that may have kind of fallen away than to somebody who doesn't know anything at all. I don't know what your intention is, but I think everybody I think in their mind is like, oh, I'm going to make this to reach people who are completely lost, right? Like never heard of Jesus. And usually the music I hear would appeal more to somebody who is a church kid that has strayed away. They know better. They know the words you're using. They understand the terms. They know who Paul is. Like it appeals more to lost Christians than it does to lost. You know what I mean?
But I see him drawing in people that, you know, used to live in the streets like he did, or might be living in the streets like he did.
Possibly, yeah.
But and here's the thing though. If I'm like, and I get what you're saying, but if I'm like today's trap dude, if I'm a 21 Savage,
and this is not the sound that I'm listening for. That's why I said if you want to reach those people today, you have to modernize your sound, because they're not listening to this.
Or like with we talked about it a couple weeks ago when you talked about South by Southwest, and David Bannon was like, even if you just change the BPM, the BPM,
just the tempo,
the tempo of a record was out there, then you make a beat, or you tell somebody I want to beat at this tempo.
Because in the 90s, and the early 2000s, the mood was a little more serious. It was more like, you know, get it off my heart, you know, and the Lord and this, you know, like it was very like that. But now it's a little more energy. Like you got to give a little bit more, use your real voice instead of your like, in the morning and then it's like, no, it's in the morning. I did such and such. You know what I mean? So it's slight little changes that it's the same words, same everything, but it just sounds newer.
Yeah.
You know? So that's the only thing I would say. But there was at least 5 or 6 tracks that are doing what I'm telling you to do. They're already. But the ones that were around it would put me in the wrong frame of mind to hear the ones that are.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Immediately turning it on, I would be like, oh, this is not for me. You see what I'm saying? This is
even as a Christian, or are you talking about for somebody that's like?
I would say anybody. It places it in the era.
Yeah,
when you first turn it on. And if you're not down with that era, or you've moved past that era, you may not give it a chance to get to the ones I liked.
This didn't remind you. Some of it didn't remind you of like I'm serious trap music, T.I.?
Yeah, it did. That's why I said like the whole Bad Boy South. Yeah, you know, all that kind of just bled to me. But that was my era, though. I mean, I'm still in that era.
But are you looking for music like that? You don't listen to music that much at all.
I listen to Christian hip hop.
But what Christian hip hop do you listen to?
I mean, Derek Minor, Aaron Cole, Cannon, KB.
But they don't sound like
Fizzle.
This. They don't sound like early 2000s.
They don't.
How much early 2000s music do you listen to right now?
It's like it's a playlist, like
but
in
it's
my
older
head.
music.
You know what I mean?
You're not looking for newer music that sounds like that, are you?
Let me ask you a question.
That's the danger I'm worried about.
What if somebody was to do that though? What if somebody was to put early T.I., early Jeezy, and all that stuff, and put this guy's stuff, Julius stuff, in the mix of that? Would that be?
But I think the appeal of that stuff is that it reminds you of when you were a kid.
Got you.
Not necessarily. Or what do you mean? That's what you say. You say that it reminds.
That's like your soundtrack as a teen, though.
But it's also what I'm comfortable with. I'm not comfortable with this new music.
You're right, but hear me out. You're comfortable with it because you remember it.
It's nostalgia.
It's nostalgia, yes, but I never heard any of his tracks. So when I heard his tracks, I was just comfortable. I was like, man, let me turn this up. I'm good.
But how would you have found this without this?
Yeah.
Would you have gone and looked for this? That's the danger. Is there's no market for this.
So it's really hard for me to find music if Jeremiah doesn't introduce it. or if I'm not plugged into a podcast or a radio show.
And I would venture to say that the other people in this market are just like that. They're not looking for new music that sounds like this. They're just listening to their old music. You see what I'm saying? And that's the danger. Like, there is a market for it, but it's going to be hard to crack it.
It's also personality types, right? Like, you have people who are kind of just laid back and moody people. You know what I mean? Like, so for me, like I said, I have to be in a mood to turn on NF. I just won't turn on NF just to turn it on. Like, I have to be in a mood for that type of music. I have to be in a mood for a turn up song or something like that. You know what I mean? So I'm a moody listener.
But if Elevators came on, regardless
all
of
day
how
long,
you
anytime,
felt,
every day.
That's the difference. Is that you may like the sound, but you're not looking for new people who sound like that.
Yeah.
You just go back to the stuff you know.
I could be. If you introduce me, seriously. The first thing I was thinking when I heard this was like, okay, I know this was a submission, but I probably will buy this album.
Yeah.
So if you find people like me, like, I mean, even Prophet Josiah, like, you find people like us that are still like, yo, I'm a moody music listener. I don't have to be
I think
on
what Sean is saying
new age music.
but it fits what you're used to paddling like as a rap consumer.
Here's what I'm comfortable with.
There needs to be, and maybe it exists, and maybe the people who are in this market already know about this, but there needs to be a service that's separate from like what we do in these spaces, because it's more for younger people, 18 to 35. We need something where people that like music like that know to go look for it, like a separate brand.
Not old school, but just like the sound that you're used to, but doesn't sound like today.
Because typically old school means songs you've heard already, not new songs that sound like songs you heard already. You see what I'm saying?
But I think what you said is kind of true. Going back, like, I don't know if people from those generations want to hear a new T.I. record, or not necessarily not new T.I., but like a new somebody new. Like if I'm used to the hits, probably example, I use the example. If I'm used to Naughty by Nature and I like their records, I'm not really trying to hear a new Naughty by Nature record. I just want to hear their classic records. For some people, that's how they are. They may not want to hear a new Tip or Jeezy or whatever.
You're saying they're not necessarily able to conform to the time. Like, you're saying they can't keep up with today's generation, which could be true, right? But
no, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying as a fan, you may be like, I like kind of like when we talked. Remember when my man was here and his homeboy was talking to us, and he was like, when you get older, stuff start being priority for you. Yeah. So it's like, I'm not going to buy a T.I. record if I have to go feed my kid.
Here's another challenge. On the way back from South by Southwest, I don't know if you saw me, but this guy was talking to me the entire time on the flight. I couldn't sleep, couldn't watch no movie. Nothing.
No, I was done.
Yeah, you were done. But this guy he had an iPod, and he was like, yo, Tribe Called Quest, Naughty by Nature, old school, this and that. He was showing me stuff that was like, yo, like he's a fan, right? He was open to hearing new. He had at least 2,000 songs on this little iPod of all old school stuff. He was open to hearing new music like that. But think about what he has. He has an iPod. He's not going on Spotify. He's not going to use new means of finding music. He's going to expect to find it the way he found this. Yeah. He found it in crates, in CD stores, and da-da-da. And if you're not there, the people that you're trying to hit, they may not be able to find you.
Yeah, that's true.
They're not going to find you on Spotify and Rapzilla and such, because that's not where you expect to find stuff like that. Yeah. You see what I'm saying?
I think that when it comes to the music listener, you've got a generation of people that are not bowing down to what's out there right now.
That's true.
Like, and I'm one of those people.
Yes.
I'm not gonna go out there and listen to the futures of the world.
But there's people who appeal to the person who liked lyricism, that liked the old style, but they update it. Kendrick. Who else is like that? Like I just mentioned, Big Crit. There's people who appeal to the old sensibilities, but they update the sound. Yeah. That's all I'm saying, is you can do both.
Yeah. So I'll give you an example, right? For somebody like me, I'll give any Christian hip hop music a chance. Like any style, any level, I'll give it a chance. But that's because I know it's safe music. I'm not willing to give everything out there a chance. Just because,
and that's why I said it matters your target. If your target is Christians that like sounds like that, it's just you just made a very thin slice of people, but then you can appeal to them. But if your target is non-Christians, it's going to be a whole nother thing.
This is why I said does remind me of gospel rap. because sometimes when you hear certain other songs, like I said, like before, Kenton Jones has a radio show here in Atlanta that comes on, and he plays records sometimes I've never heard before the artist, and sometimes it does sound like this
because that's his lane.
Yeah, so that may be something where you may be like, hey,
send it to Ken Jones.
Yeah,
that's the thing. You got to find outlets that are favorable to that sound.
Yeah,
it exists.
Yeah,
but it don't exist everywhere. So you just got to really fine tune. Am I hitting who I want to hit?
Yeah.
If you are, then God bless you. Keep going. But if you're not and you're wondering why, it could be this.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Let's get back in. Hopefully that helps, man. Let's get back into it. You in the field with the track stars, Ryan Righteous, Sean Tanner, DJ Jeremiah. Let go.
Hey guys, Miracle here. Thank you so much for watching that episode. Make sure you go below, like it, subscribe, click the bell, and make sure you follow us on all forms of our social media. Also, check out our website and be sure you spread the word. We'll see you next time.
We know not what we doing. Screw that, they know, let them have it, do it. Okay, I'm erratic, prove it. Never mind, got a mind that'll wind up with me in a lineup behind bars with these bars. Okay, my time's up.
Team Freedom.
Yeah.
We not through yet.
All right.
Trackstarz Music presents.
Turn my volume up. Turn me off.